But at the moment, it is Brian Bateman in the lead of this race in the 83 car. And it's not a bad looking car. Like, this is actually one of the cars that I really rate as far as paint schemes go. It's nice and it's simple. It's black with the silver trim down on the bottom of the car. It just looks nice and classic, Brian.
Yeah, it's definitely a simple looking paint scheme, reminiscent of Dale Earnhardt Sr. with the black. You know, you see that black car coming up in your rear view, you know, you better watch out.
That's exactly right. He wasn't the Intimidator for nothing. But at the moment, he is going to be in the lead of this race. Derek Runge has re-overtaken second. Chandler sitting in third, and he is only just in front of James Binning in that 333 car. And Runge has a 3-second...
I burnt the right front out again. So.
Oh, man. Keep your chin up because, you know, completely different season. The next race you run is a complete race. And, you know, you never know what can happen race to race. You know, you could find yourself having a stroke of good luck and figuring out exactly how. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and welcome to the Speedway Memes 150 right here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. And this is the newly reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's built to be a little bit steeper in the banking. The track surface itself is not quite as wide. and there are cars that are going to be going crazy around here, honestly. It's a bit of a different look, Atlanta Motor Speedway, to what we're used to, but we'll have to wait and see how these drivers handle it. As it looks like, for the most part, almost everyone is in the pits. So we'll possibly see a pit party here in just a minute. Oh, Jonathan Hernandez just saying hello to TJ Crampton. And then Crampton saying hello to everyone else who was waiting for the pit party. Okay. So while we wait for everyone to get themselves sorted out here, got 24 cars taking on the racing action here tonight. Strength of field is going to be a 2671. And I'm going to put in an early apologies here if you hear me sniffing a lot, coughing and sneezing. I am a little bit under the weather. And I'm sure this is not going to be the only time I apologize for it. Everyone's all over the place like Brown's cows, trying to find out where they want to be lining up. This being more of a super speedway kind of a package, going to be interesting to see how these drivers will want to line up, especially considering this track is not as wide as, say, like your Daytona or your Talladega. Looks like we've got some resemblance of an order now. The cars come out of turn number 4. We're off and racing. Side by side they go through turns 1 and 2. For the most part, it looks like everyone making it through there safely. Oh, around goes Chris Champeau. That is off the nose of Corey Wilson. A secondary crash happened as well. This one's involving a lot more people. And that's going to be the ultimate risk. We've got 3 separate crashes that stemmed from the one incident. So that's something that we could possibly see throughout the race as well. If an incident happens, everyone's packed up like that, you could end up having 2 or 3 different crashes for the one incident. Straight wide they go, coming out of turn 4. Oh. As there went TJ Crampton and Travis Massey. My apologies. I could feel that sneeze coming for a quarter of a lap. Jonathan Hernandez, he is right up on the tail of Andrew Hennessy. Andrew Hennessy, new driver to the league. 4.2 AE license with a 5.9k I rating. It's great to see Hennessy out there. Yeah, Hennessy is 59.22 is the exact I rating for that 99 car. Yeah, we've also got Matt Burgess and Thomas Harmon who have joined this little group. Making it a 4-way battle. Just up ahead of them a little bit. Here's the 61 of TJ Crampton, and they're catching him very quickly. Sounded like someone caught the fence there a little bit. I think that might have been Thomas Harmon. As the times are really close throughout the whole field. Just having a look right now. We've only got 23 times in at the moment, and the entire field is separated by 0.639 of a second. And that is absolutely nothing. We'll have to wait and see later on how that's going to translate, as into the fence goes the 12 and the 38. And shortly after that, the 61 came a cropper. And that was with, I don't know who. There's a lot of other people just started joining in on the crash. I see they're still crashing. That crash started all the way in turn 1, as it ended halfway down the back straight. And they're still crashing. The 5 Mark Pentacar from the 65 Push Steinhauser start getting into it as well. On screen right now we have the 24 Frank Isaacson, the 3 of Paul Cox, the 81 of Corey Williamson. Three very underrated drivers. I think Frank's been around the longest out of the 3 of them. Frank has definitely been on the up and up. So too is Corey Williamson. He's had some good results this season so far. And Paul Cox has usually got pace. Runs into a little bit of an issue here or there. As it looks like we're starting to get another pit party here. All the drivers making their way back out onto the track. Watch them all over the place again. All just trying to figure out a little bit of space just for themselves. Also a little bit of nose to tail contact going on through the field. We're off and racing once more. That was a very even start for a pit party. Don't normally see too much of that. Oh, and there's some drama in the background. Paul Cox is around, Brandon Bennett's involved, Joe Slama, Matt Burgess. Sorry about that. It looks like the majority of the pack's still together here. Go 3 wide for the front of the pack. John Lozelle and Jonathan Hernandez were in that big crash. Robert DeVore didn't just get rejected, he got sent back to where he came from. That was returned to sender, address unknown. Did a 9 Joe Slama running the top of the track, letting the field by. He wanted to jump onto the back of the shenanigans. It's Thomas Harmon trying to do the same thing there, jump off to the back of the pack. Well, the 81 and Corey Williamson got a little bit of out of shape there. That's the one thing that we're hearing about these tyres so far, is that they're great for the first 3 or 4 laps, and then the tyres start getting weird. Start getting runs in places that you wouldn't think you were getting runs. Start getting tight, you start getting loose. The car becomes a little bit untamable. But for the most part, these guys here at the front handling it all right. Of course, this is still in practice trim. A lot of them will be driving above their means, which means in the race it'll be a little bit more sedate than what you see. As around goes the 60 Kyle Kraus. Eddie Brian Harris is in it. Sam Niederholm. Oh god, that was a hit. For the 23 of John Lozelle. Oh, Mark Pentecoff coming in late, clipping Thomas Harlan. The road race there between Pizzacami and Hernandez. As to be expected, they're good friends off the track. We see Brian Chambliss, Andrew Hennessy, Corey Williamson, TJ Crampton here in this little group of 4. Hennessy was given the big hurry up to Chambliss there, trying to push him along. Looks like we've had 24 times registered now. Adam Bowden currently sitting down on the bottom of the bunch as Williamson gets turned around from Crampton. And Crampton swiftly goes and takes out Harmon. Kraus, John Lozelle, and Chris Champeau there. Kraus went into the pit lane. We gain Frank Isaacson and Corey Steinhauser to this little group. Well, Steinhauser with a big run. Couldn't find a place to put it, so he gave a little bit of a tap to John Lizelle there. 12 of Matt Burgess got absolutely sent into the inside wall. We are now starting to creep up towards the end of practice here. Oh, it was big time flipping. Goes John Lizelle. I think Bowden and Niederhelm were involved in that one. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to figure out how far we've got left on time right now. It's because the session was a little bit delayed. This is actually the second session that got opened for this race. The first session had an issue and they had to scrap it. And it looks like we're possibly getting ready for another pit party here. All the cars making their way to the end of pit lane. So I'm staying on the track, so I'm going to the end of the pit lane. Looks like they're starting to roll now. The two Corys are side by side on the track. So Williamson and Steinhauser. Alright, here we go. Got everyone lined up and ready to go. The theoretical pace car is in. They're off and racing. We've already had one victim, Brian Harris, onto the inside of the track. 3 wide. 3 deep, 3 wide. Oh, and this is where it's going to go wrong. Big multi-car crash. Somehow Steinhauser made his way through the middle of all that. I think we're starting to get ever nearer to the end of practice here. Some guys are starting to take the practice a little bit more seriously, some not so much. So there's a bit of a bingle there in turn 1. Side by side they go. Somehow everyone squeezed around Brian Chambliss. He was going slow on the inside of the track. Looks like he's practicing a pit entry. Oh, good time in the defense was Slammer and Harmon that time. Crampton just faked them both into the fence. Looks like there's a little bit of a bigger gap now. Top two separated by less than a tenth. The entire field, 24 cars, separated by 0.797 of a second. That's just over 3/4 of a second that they're all separated by. Oh, around goes TJ Crampton. Off the nose of Hernandez. And that's a broken 61 car. Got the Speedway Memes Motorsports logo on the car now as well, to show that he's one of the 3 Speedway Memes Motorsports drivers. Not entirely sure. I think we're just about in the final minute of practice now. As all hell breaks loose for that big pack. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the results of qualifying, so make sure you guys stay tuned. welcome back to the Speedway Memes 150 right here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Qualifying is complete, and as you can see, the 38 of Thomas Harmon starting from the pole. His outside will be the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Out of P3, we will have the 39 of James Watson, P4 to 33 of Matt Horton. P5 will be the 99 of Andrew Hennessy, with P6 the 9 of Joe Slammer. P7 will be the 60 of Kyle Kraus, with P8 the 12 of Matt Burgess. P9 will be the 61 of TJ Cranton, with P10 the 23 of John Lazelle. P11 is the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. So we have Frank Isaacson. We've got Travis Massier, Paul Cox, Chris Champeau, and Adam Bowden. Then we've got Brian Harris, Sam Niederhelm, Corey Steinhauser. We've got Brian Pizzacchemi, we've got Brandon Bennett, Mark Pentacuff, and wrapping up the field is going to be the 6 of Robert DeVore, the 81 of Corey Williamson. There he is, just on track now. 100 laps to tackle here for our drivers in this race. 150 miles as the field starts making its way onto the track. Again, this is sponsored by Speedway Memes. You can find them at the Speedway Memes Media YouTube channel. Speedway Memes Motorsport Drivers, which we see 3 of which on track, that being TJ Cranton, Paul Cox, and Corey Steinhauser. Or you can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Speedway Memes 69. Celebrating 10 years next year. Alright, here we go, coming out of turn number 4. Pace car makes a hard left turn into the pit lane. Adrenaline's are pumping, the hearts are thumping. We're off and racing. Good start there for Thomas Harmon. Brian Chambliss similarly with an alright start. Nothing to write home about, but definitely still right up there. James Watson on the inside line, following through with Thomas Harmon. And I think the top 3 on the inside line have all cleared the outside. Just about anyway, as Hennessy just about getting around Chambliss there. That is going to be lap number 1 complete. Thomas Harmon is going to be the one leading the way. Top 3 from the inside line have now completely cleared that outside lane. As lots of people chopping and changing and finding different grooves to go into. I think 21 of Chambliss still just stuck out there on that outside line. Got Matt Horton right in behind him. Sorry about that. Now to 60, Kyle Kraus fancies himself a brave man, jumps into the outside line. Chambliss has got right back up now. He's right on the tail of Kyle Kraus. And let's see how they do here with the outside line. And it seems like they are starting to catch up a little bit. As now the 99 of Hennessy moves up to lead the outside line. A little bit of contact there in the back there. 83 of Bowden getting into the fence. Was a little bit of check up for that outside lane towards the back of the pack. And all seems fairly clean sailing here now. Back up to the front we go. There's still 2x2 formation here at the front of the field. It looks like it's very hard to try and gain positions around here as the 99 of Andrew Hennessy leads his first lap on debut with the Output Racing League. And he's going to slide down and in front of Thomas Hum. Take over the lead of the inside lane. They're thundering down the back straight there. Thomas Harmon getting right up behind Andrew Hennessy, trying to push him along that back straight. Outside line has some pretty good momentum though. Here comes Kyle Kraus. Kraus and Chambliss pushing each other on the outside line, going faster than what the inside can handle. It looks like this time by Kyle Kraus is going to find a way to clear Hennessy. At least keep his nose in front as they come down the start finish straight. Kyle Kraus will officially lead this lap. Just look at the field of cars. They're 2x2 for about 12 cars deep. That single files out a little bit. Still very close margins at the front of the field here, lap after lap. Going on. The man in the middle there is a 23 of John Lozelle. He is. There's Joe Slama and Jonathan Hernandez who are around him. That's one way to force a move. Because now it looks like Brian Chambliss trying to take the lead away on the inside line. There's the one tucked right up behind Kyle Kraus. Jumped down to the inside line when the opportunity arose. See what he can do on the inside line with Hennessy on his tail. As it looks like the field's starting to stretch out here a little bit. Kyle Kraus still leads the way. The momentum on that outside line just too strong right now. It looks like we've had a couple of movers in the field already. See just towards the tail of the top 10 there. Ryan Harris, Corey Steinhauser. They started in 17th and 19th respectively. Up in 13th and 14th at the moment. Momentum on the outside line just far too strong right now. Kyle Kraus now leads the way with Matt Horton behind him. And Kyle Kraus has just been ditched by Matt Horton and the 12 of Matt Burgess. Kyle Kraus still officially led that lap. But he's not going to lead any more at the moment. The 33, Matt Horton has full control of the front of this field. But here comes Kyle Kraus on the outside lane. And Jonathan Hernandez helping him. willing him along in that outside lane. It looked like a little bit of a bobble there for Matt Horton coming out of turn 4. It gave the outside lane a lot of momentum. You also saw there Jonathan Hernandez just poking his nose down a little bit to get a little bit of air on the grill. And out to the front, we'll go Kyle Kraus once more. Another big push from Jonathan Hernandez along the pit straight. Almost looks like the high line is the place to be if you want to make moves. As all of the three on the outside lane have cleared the inside line now. Oh, that's one in the fence. That is the 8, Brian Harris, taking a trip along the fence, coming out of turn 4. And he's going to find his way back towards the back of this pack. That's Kraus, Hernandez, Hennessy, and Horton. Yep. The 21 of Brian Chambliss there as well. Matt Burgess, John Zell. Where's Thomas Harmon when you need him? Could have had the 4 H names all in the one little group. As we go 3 wide with the 33 and Matt Horton being the piggy in the middle. And it looks like Hennessy has just been ditched. Oh, big sideways moment there for the 23 of John Lozelle. He managed to save it. He was in the middle, so he took most of the dirty wash from the air. But Jonathan Hernandez now officially leads a lap. And here comes Brian Chambliss on the outside line now. It looks like there's also a fairly spirited battle going on for 10th place further down the field here. Got Steinhauser and Frank Isaacson battling it out for 10th. I think Isaacson just backed off a little bit there coming out of 4. He's going to get a little bit more of a run now. As there's lots of looseness going on here at the front of the field. Looks like cars are starting to go any way but straight. And we're only 21 laps into this one. We're watching Jonathan Hernandez though as Matt Burgess is leading away from Thomas Harmon. Harmon pulls to the outside lane. That Burgess was all the way to the inside to try and prevent the side draft. Harmon running the Larson line up by the fence. And Thomas Harmon is going to lead this lap. He's getting a push from Hernandez. Now Harmon goes down into the lower lane. Hernandez follows. Oh, and there is someone around. 23 John Lozelle, 33 Matt Horton. Go back and see what unfolded there. Coming down on turn 2. These cars getting loose everywhere there a little bit.
Let's see. Looks like Horton might have come down a little bit, trying to side draft off of Lizelle. And that's just sent both of them up into the fence. It looks like Frank Isaacson's just going to get a small little piece of the 23 car there. But apart from that, no real damage recorded. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the restart here for the Speedway Memes 150, live and exclusive from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Speedway Memes 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentary channel. During the commercial break, everyone pitted. So we currently have Thomas Harmon from Jonathan Hernandez, Matt Burgess, Brian Chambliss, Kyle Kraus, Andrew Hennessy, James Watson, TJ Crampton, Corey Steinhauser, and Joe Slama as your top 10. So I've got a new guy and a guy who usually runs at the back in the top 10. And it looks like the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll get going green this time by. The rescue field is Frank Isaacson, Robert Duvall, Corey Williamson, Chris Champeau, Sam Niederhelm, Brian Harris, Paul Cox, Adam Bowden, Brian Pizzakemi, Mark Pentakoff, John Lizelle, Travis Massier, Brandon Bennett, and Matt Horton. As we're 25 laps down, we're going to have 75 laps to go. It'll be 74 laps to go when we get the green flag. And because it's been a little bit since we've had a proper caution, good timing and the right camera angles, I think for this restart, we're going to crank it up. Alrighty, we're back. So good to have some proper static cameras there so we can do a real good crank it up. As you can see, they're still 2 by 2 as we make our way into turns 3 and 4 again. But Brian Chambliss leading the way from Matt Burgess and Jonathan Hernandez, who are side by side. See, these guys still fairly packed together. We've got 2 different packs going on here. We've got this pack, which is from first down to about 15th. And then you have P16 down to 24 in the second pack. They are currently being led by the 81 of Corey Williamson. As he just got overtaken by the one Matt Horton. So this is the second pack, and they're probably going to have no chance of catching if they stay side by side like that. Corey Williamson gets into line. I'm going to mute up real quick so I can feel sneezing fit coming on. Oh boy, that was not fun. You see we've got a little bit of separation here now between Kyle Kraus and TJ Crampton. Not very much, but it's just enough to guarantee this front pack almost going single file completely. But they are completely single file now, besides the 4 at the back. At the back is starting to drop off the field here a little bit. We've got 11 cars single filed out here, and the 4 behind who have lost touch. Harris, Watson, Slammer, and Isaacson. So we've got the cameras here set to focus on crashes. Looks like Seinhauser trying to make a move on Robert Duvall. Not going to quite work out for him. We're working on lap 39. It looks like we're going to have a pass for the lead as Brian Chambliss starting to fall down here a little bit. Gave up the lead to Matt Burgess. As looks like we're just starting to go 2 by 2 once more. Andrew Hennessy in a 99, getting underneath of the 88, it's Jonathan Hernandez. And now Hennessy making a charge for the lead. 12 of Matt Burgess is going to try and hold on strong on the outside by himself. Not going to be able to do it this time as Hennessy, Harmon and Crampton take over the top 3. Burgess now slipped all the way back to P6. It's going to be a career high for Steinhauser up in P8 at the moment. So that looks like that's about to be short-lived. Back into 2x2 formation we go. Again, I apologise for all the sneezing, coughing and sniffing that you will hear. I am under the weather. And I'll actually be surprised if I have a voice left to do driver interviews with. Kyle Kraus is the one leading up the inside line now, as the top 3 were constantly juggling between outside and inside. 12 of Matt Burgess now working his way back up towards 3rd. Got the 23 of John Lozelle helping him out there, giving him a little bit of a push. And it's not really a push per se, it's just a little bit of air getting expelled off the front of the car. It's just willing him along, as Matt Burgess has now made his way up towards 2nd now, as he's on the outside of Thomas Harmon. John Lozelle's doing really good. He was right back there a little bit. Some would say that he was buried in the pack. So he's now trying to hold on to 5th. We're nearing ever closer to the halfway mark. And normally this is where we'll be starting to get these drivers hyped up for green flag pit stops. But with the caution coming out on, I think it was about lap 23, 24, that could definitely put a damper on things as far as fuel strategy goes. I'm not sure if the drivers will be cutting it close or not. Steinhauser was on the apron there. Must have gotten loose coming down turn 2. So I'm not sure how close these drivers will be cutting it, but I would have to imagine that there'd be question marks over whether they can make it on fuel. Oh, big time up into the fence there. That was a 12 from Matt Burgess. That car just snapped right on him. Oh, it was a big sideways moment there for the 65 Steinhauser. Not sure how he held on to that. They're 3 wide now with Frank Isaacson and Brian Harris. That was very close quarters for all these drivers here. And it looks like they're going to continue on as if nothing happened now. Back up to the front of the pack. Matt Burgess still trying to work his way back up once more. And once more he has the help of John Lozelle on the outside line. And they're getting a pretty good draft off of the cars in front. As we have 2 packs once more. The third pack has caught up to the second pack. If these guys are smart and play their cards right, they'll be able to catch this front pack in no time at all. And just having a quick little look through the lap times here. Fastest lap of the race by Brian Harris, 29.847. That's crazy. He's only one of 2 drivers that has, 3 drivers has made it under the 30-second marker. We got Matt Horton with a 29.864 and Matt Burgess with a 29.9. Everyone else is 30 seconds or above. I'd love to compare everyone's top lap times here. As we have reached and very well past the halfway marker. The halfway marker on the ticker there is a little bit late. As we are now 55 laps into the books. Just 45 laps to go. It looks like the ticker's been a little bit screwy, telling us the wrong amount of laps left. We're still continuing to look at the second pack. The 33 and Matt Horton, second fastest car on track. Back to Brian Harris, the fastest car on track. Which is a sentence that I never thought that I would ever say. It looks like a battle for the lead once more. Hennessy tries to get underneath of Thomas Harmon, try and take the lead away. Who was going to lead it at the line? It looks like it's going to be Harmon by a splitter. And look at that second pack. They are catching. They're catching very quickly. Less than a second between Robert DeVore and Jonathan Hernandez. That second pack well and truly has draft now. But let's have a look out of the cockpit of the 88 car. I'm going to go to the gyro cam. In fact, this is a terrible, terrible camera. Let's go to his nose. There we go. Hear a little bit of bottoming out there as well. That's what 0.8 of a second looks like. Definitely not much. Like it is, but it isn't. As we're just about to come up on 37 to go at the end of this lap. But that second pack wasn't satisfied with catching up. Steinhauser tried going for a move on the two of Chris Champeau. Didn't work out for either of them as they both lost a lot of time. Looks like Steinhauser starting to lose some positions there. Jonathan Hernandez with a big run on the outside. Getting around TJ Crampton and to the outside of Robbie DeVore. Sounds like the 39, James Watson, just caught the fence there a little bit. He's dramatically lost some pace. Oh! Front of the field, Matt Burgess has gone off towards the inside. Just back this up real quick. See what happened to him. Coming out of turn 2. I'm not sure whether that was a touch from behind or whether he got into Thomas Harmon there a little bit. But that's now Matt Burgess down a lot. And we're really lucky that that was not a bigger incident than it was. The Lions trying to get themselves sorted out here. Looking at TJ Crampton there as he's got 12 of Matt Burgess behind him. Oh, Robbie DeVore hit the apron there a little bit, got a little bit sideways. The field goes thundering into turns 24 once more. We've got 69 laps complete. Means just 31 laps to go. Oh, is into the fence. That's the 23, John Lazelle. And he has fallen right back in the pack. Looks like we've got eyes here on Brian Pizzicami. He's battling side by side with Chris Champeau. Thomas Harmon making a move for the lead. He jumps down to the inside of Jonathan Hernandez. Hernandez, though, with the momentum on that outside line, just keeps it going nicely. The racing's definitely starting to intensify now. Brian Pizzicami's worked his way up into fourth. He's on the inside line. In fact, he's trying to make his way up into the top three, as he is in third. Trying to take over second from Hennessy. Hennessy says, nah, I'm going to jump down in front of you. And I'm going to make you work with me. As three wide now will go. Tennessee got shafted back to fourth. Hernandez has become a little bit of a sitting duck, but he now moves down to the inside lane. Pizzicami looking to the outside now. The action at the front of this field has just become a little bit more intense. There's a little bit of contact going on as well. Hernandez still leading away from Hennessy. And the field is constantly getting shuffled and reshuffled as the race goes on. As we're past the three-quarter mark now. Just going to be 23 laps to go when they get to the start-finish line this time. And look at the lead that Jonathan Hernandez has. You wouldn't be able to get away with that at any other super speedway. There's Sonny Brian Pizzicami comfortably in second. Andrew Hennessy, league rookie, still right up his chuff, trying to get something to work. And now Hennessy Jumps down to follow Hernandez. These three just about had a breakaway going. The racing action is still definitely quite intense right now. As Brian Pizzicami makes his way back into second. It's the yo-yo effect going on. Now Pizzicami looks to the outside of Hernandez. And just look at all the air gaps between the cars. It's really surprising that we're getting these kinds of gaps going on. Now to the bottom of the track goes, well, to the middle of the track goes Pizzicami. Choosing neither the high line nor the low line, runs the middle in the corner. Hennessy and Hernandez still side by side. Harmon's up there as well. So too is Kyle Kraus. The inside now goes the 88 Jonathan Hernandez. That was a very last minute move. Still going to be Pizzicami leading the way though. You look how big the gap is between Pizzicami and Hennessy. Two of Chris Champeau starting to make some moves as well. As he's on the outside of the 12 of Matt Burgess. In fact, made that the 60 of Kyle Kraus as he's just about in the top 5. Ryan Pizzicami still perfectly working both lanes, maintaining the lead. As both he and Hennessy move down to the low lane for the corner. Hernandez giving a big push to Hennessy now. And looks like they're going to go to the outside. Now that is what Pizzicami did not want to see. As now Hennessy takes over the lead of the low line. So Pizzicami got really tight when he jumped down. Thomas Harmon trying everything he can to push the 78 car along. I know I normally would have jumped to a second commercial by now. This is just way too intense to look away. Three wide now. Pizzicami, Kraus, and Chambliss. Had to think about it for a second then. Chris Champo's works his way up into third. I think Chambliss just caught the fence there a little bit on the outside of turns 3 and 4. Now the two of Chris Champeau pushing along the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. As Chris trying to make some more positions. He's now got Pizzicami in behind him. What can they do together? To the inside of Hernandez goes Champeau. Here comes Pizzicami on the outside. He's got the draft from Hernandez. And at the line, there's still Champeau over Pizzicami. Oh, and there's contact. And around goes Pizzakemi. Oh, there's big drama. Steinhauser's involved. Pizzakemi's gone. Not sure where else. I think Carl Kraus was involved in that one as well. Let's go back and have another look. Now we actually had a pretty good view of it from the camera here in turn 3. And down the straight, you can see Pizzakemi's on the dotted white line. Chris Champeau's come up and just into his left rear. I think he was trying to side draft a little bit. The contact was made. A round has gone. The 78. 2 comes back out onto the track. Oh, Hennessy's been turned straight into Carl Kraus. And Pizzakemi tried to save it. And unfortunately, when he come back up the track, Steinhauser nowhere to go. It's going to bring out the second caution of the race. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be going to the checkered flag here for the Speedway Memes 150 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Speedway Memes 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. Pit stops have been complete and Brian Chambliss is going to be leading the way from Jonathan Hernandez and Thomas Harmon. Chris Champeau after that crash has recovered for P4. I've got Matt Horton 5th, Matt Burgess P6. Corey Williamson 7, TJ Crampton 8, James Watson 9th, and Joe Slama in 10th. And a lot of cars taken out in that one. But Steinhauser in the pits getting repairs, Kraus in the pits getting repairs, Pizzakemi in the pits getting repairs, and unfortunately Andrew Hennessy, I'm pretty sure is going to be OUT out of the race. Lights are out on the pace car. The wave rounds are going to get going. Sam Niederhelm and Adam Bowden, who did not come and pit. I'm not entirely sure how they want to lap down there. There's going to be Chambliss, Hernandez, Harmon, Champeau, Horton, Burgess, Williamson, Crampton, Watson, Slama, Cox, Massio, Pentacup, Isaacson, Harris, Lizelle, DeVore, Bennett, Niederhelm, Bowden, Steinhauser, Kraus, Hennessy, and Pizzakemi. The lights are out on the pace car as we come through turns 3 and 4. We're off and racing once more. Like Hernandez was about to jump the start there a little bit. Thought better of it. We're in the final 10 laps of this race. And terrible restart there for the entire outside line. Hernandez falling back drastically as Chambliss and Harmon leading the way here. As we only have now 6 laps to go. It's Chambliss, Harmon, Champeau as your top 3. It looks like some very willing racing going on towards the back here. Got 3 wide going on. Cranton has worked his way up into P6 now. And Paul Cox back there in 8th as well. Matt Burgess fallen from Grayson to 9th. And it looks like 88 Jonathan Hernandez has gone a lap down because he jumped too early. He must have had a penalty. That's the only way I can think of it. He's come down the pit lane because he had a penalty. Side by side now. TJ Crampton, Matt Burgess. The two Chris Champeau back there as well. As they're all going around the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. Do a little bit of check up there. But a 39 and the 9s, 3 wide they go again. Hernandez says, nope, I'm getting out of that. No, I'm not going to make it 3 wide with you guys. As we only have 4 laps to go now. Still Chambliss leading the way from Harmon. You see TJ Crampton trying to push up on the back of Corey Williamson, trying to wheel him along. And how's Corey Williamson doing up there in the top 3 right now? As we almost go 3 wide again. Oh, and around. There's TJ Crampton. Was off the nose of Matt Burgess. And I think that has just brought out the caution once more. It has. Let's see if we can get another view of that incident. Coming along the main straight here. There's a tap from Burgess onto Crampton. Crampton just moved up a little bit to try and not get into the 81. And that was just maybe a little bit of racing incident there. I'm going to call devil's advocate on it. But around goes the 61 TJ Crampton, and that has brought out the 3rd caution of the race. Crampton actually did really well to keep it off the wall and to make sure he didn't bring it back onto the track and involve anyone else in it. So with that, we go into overtime. We have 2 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. Ryan Chambliss is going to be leading the way here on the restart. And if my eyes don't deceive me, Corey Williamson's going to be in P2 here for the restart. Field catches up to the pace car. We get a proper going through of where everyone is at when they start coming across the start-finish line this time. I think we've got a couple of takers for pit stops. Possibly, maybe. Jonathan Hernandez gets the lucky dog wave around. There's going to be Chambliss, Williamson, Harmon, Champeau, Burgess, Watson, Horton, Slammer, Harris, and Cox as your top 10. It's Crampton, Massieu, DeVore, Lizelle, Isaacson, Pentacuff, Bowden, Bennett, Niederhelm, Hernandez, who was going to be one lap down. Got Steinhauser and Kraus and Hennessy, who are all in the pits. In fact, Steinhauser and Kraus in the pits, 10 laps down. Hennessy, who is OUT out, but he's scored his 10 laps down right now. Brian Pizzakemi, who is 11 laps down, currently in dead last. He is still in the pits as well. For some reason, it's got Sam Niederhelm's name grayed out on my positional ticker here. Let's just see if he's on track or not. There he is. A grayed out name usually means they're in the pits, but apparently not. As the lights are out on the pace car. So Chambliss, Williamson, Harmon, Champeau, Burgess, Watson, Horton, Slammer, Harris, Cox, Crampton, Niederhelm, Massieu, DeVore, Lizelle, Isaacson, Bennett, Bowden, Pentacuff, Hernandez, Steinhauser, and Kraus are back on track, 11 laps down. Andrew Hennessy, OUT, out of this race. Here we go. First attempt at a green-white checker. It feels like it's been forever since we've had a green-white checkered finish. The pace car is in. And we're off and racing. Big jump there for Brian Chambliss. Thomas Harmon trying to take advantage as well. 3 wide for third between Burgess. Oh no. As Williamson just about brought it all unstuck. They're 4 wide temporarily. Oh, and something had to give, and it just did. Got a 4-car pile up on the back straight. That's going to bring out the caution once more. TJ Crampton, unlucky to be involved in another one. See if we can get a slower look at this crash. I hit the wrong button. Just trying to figure out what happened here. You can see the 8 of Brian Harris recognizes the 33 is going slow. So he dives up to make it 4 wide. And he catches the 61 of TJ Crampton. They both go high. 6 is already there. 6, of course, being Robert DeVore. DeVore hits the fence. Sandwich starts to happen. Frank Isaacson, nowhere to go there. He's going to get into the fence and he's going to be just involved in this accident. And for the most part, everyone else is going to get around this incident pretty scot-free. There's a second crash in a row for TJ Grant, and I think Frank Isaacson's been just about involved in every crash. We also have a change for the leaders. Thomas Harmon snuck his way in front of Brian Chambliss. In fact, Chambliss dropped all the way down to third during that half a lap. So we're going to re-rack them, restack them, and have another attempt at a green, white, checkered finish. We'll get the order as they come across the line this time. And I think there was actually a second crash and all that. See the 12 of Matt Burgess is in the pits. He's got a lot of smoke coming out of that car. What happened? So we have the first crash on the back straight. Now what happens up here to the 12? They're still racing pretty furiously here. So the green light was still on, and down comes Chris Champeau across the 12 of Matt Burgess. The 3 of Paul Cox caught a little piece of that as well. Up the track he goes, right in front of Corey Williamson. Williamson, nowhere to go and all that. Oh, 66, Sam Niederhelm also caught a piece of it. Where's Burgess? There's Burgess, he's still going. These guys are crashing down here. And Lizelle takes a hard right to avoid hitting Williamson. These guys are all sneaking through. Frank's come to a stop, and Robert DeVore hits Frank once more. Poor Frank. Involved in 2 crashes in the 1 incident. So yeah, that one had it all. We come out of this with a very, very different looking order. We'll just wait for them all to cross the start finish line here so we can get a proper running on how everyone's doing as we go into the second and final attempt at an overtime finish. So it's going to be Thomas Harmon, Chris Champeau, Ryan Chambliss, Paul Cox, James Watson, Joe Slammer, Matt Horton, Travis Massier, John Lizelle, Adam Bowden, Brandon Bennett, Corey Williamson, Frank Isaacson. Matt Burgess already let down. He's going to be out. Got Niederhelm, Crampton, Harris in the pits. Robbie DeVore is in the pits. Hernandez is back on the lead lap. Mark Pentecoff, who was 3 laps down. Steinhauser and Kraus both 11 laps down. They're battling over 21st. Hennessy, who is out. And Pizzakemi, who is down in 24th. And I think we're seeing him coming back out of the pits now, so he'll probably end up 23rd out of this race. And league rookie Andrew Hennessy making his debut here tonight after being up front leading some laps, unfortunately caught up in an earlier incident, and he is out of the race. Apologies for that. The lights are out on the pace car. Get everyone lined up here. So it was like Burgess, DeVore, and Pentacup are all out. But here we go. Second and final attempt at a green-white checkered finish. 2 laps to sort out the men from the boys. Who is it going to be? We see Harmon get another win. Will it be Chris Champeau, Brian Chambliss, or Paul Cox? Will Paul Cox get his first win? Will James Watson make it on the podium? Will Joe Slama make it up there? What can Matt Horton do from 7th? Those answers will come up very shortly. Just a couple of short laps time. The pace car makes his way into the pit lane. Here we go, the final time for the green-white checkered finish. Very slow start that time for the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Keeps the field all kinds of packed up. If we get a caution, it will end the race. Thomas Harmon still leading the way. Chris Champeau pushing furiously. Here comes James Watson. He's up there now. Like Champeau's dropped off a little bit. But the battle is for the lead between the 38 and the 21. But Chambliss is trying to tempt Harmon into going a little bit higher. James Watson is right there, so if Chambliss slips up, it's going to be all over. And there we go, he's gone high. It's going to be a drag race back to the line. Who's going to take it out? It's going to be the 21 of Brian Chambliss, and I think James Watson just snuck home for second. James Watson did sneak home for second. Thomas Harmon finishing in third. What an incredible race. Going to take a little bit to unpack the action there for that final sequence. But here comes Brian Chambliss for his second win of the season. And he is going to celebrate in style with some burnouts here on the front straight. Yeah, he's a very happy chappy. Alright, with that, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have driver interviews, so make sure you guys stay tuned. And now it is time for driver interviews. Coming up first, we got our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award winner. And today's Hard Charger is number 2 of Chris Champeau. As soon as it all loads up and does the right thing. Come on, OBS, work with me. There we go. Chris, P2, P5 here tonight after starting from 15th. That's definitely no mean feat at all. What was the race like for you out there here tonight?
Out further back. Well, I started out where I kind of wanted to. I wanted an early pit stall just because we tend to, when it's doing the green flag stop, especially at these like super speedways, it's nice to not to be able to see your box. So start off in the back kind of, and then kind of sat back there for most of the race. Almost lost the draft at one point, had to fight back to get it, and then. But overall, I was pretty happy with how the race went. Kind of worked my way up to the front. I think we were in P2 there for a little bit, and got caught up in a couple incidents. But overall, I think it was a pretty clean race.
It definitely looked like a pretty clean race, especially in that middle section of the race after we had that first caution. Everyone just kind of tried to find their own groove, and most of the field single filed for a little bit, and then got double filed again towards the end of that run. What was that run like for you? And trying to figure out whether you were going to have to pit or not.
Yeah, that run. I think what kind of helped was a lot of people, I think, including myself, kind of thought there was a realm of possibility you could save enough fuel to make it. And I want to say it was probably 20, 30 laps before we realized we couldn't. And at that point, we were really spread out and took probably another 10, 15 to get back caught up to the lead pack. And then, I think it was probably about a 70 lap run or maybe a 60 lap run. So for about the first 40 of it, I feel like I was kind of by myself and then pushing to get back up. And then the last 20 or so, I was up in that lead pack. And we were fighting hard up there, but I think the tires were worn out enough where people had to, you know, respect the handling of the car and the drivers around him and stuff. It wasn't like we were going 3 wide or anything. So I think that helped. And then that caution came out. Me and Brian were just going down the backstretch. I came up a little bit. Looking at the replay, it looks like I actually was right behind Jonathan. Jonathan goes up, and I started to follow him just a little bit, and just got into the corner of Brian. Definitely didn't mean to do that, but it seems like I ruined his day and a couple other guys on that one.
All right, now let's look at the end of the race there. Got a little bit stoppy-starty there towards the end with a few late cautions, including 2 overtime cautions. What was that like for you trying to set yourself up for the green-white checkered finishes?
It was tough. That very first one before the green white checkers, I started in fourth, and I think I ended fall back maybe to eighth or ninth or something before I was able to find a run and get back up towards the front. And then the second one I started again in fourth, and I think I had a better restart. But we only got to turn 3 before we wrecked, and I don't know if the caution came up behind us, and then me and Matt were banging around, and he got killed. So I'm not really sure what happened there. But last one I was in P2, and I was kind of waiting for Thomas to go, and apparently everyone else behind us started going instead. So I kind of got caught up. We were doing okay on the outside, but once we got to that backstretch, the inside line just drove right by me. I was able to salvage a fifth out of it, which I'm pretty stoked about, but would have liked to get top 3. But I can't complain. We didn't die.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Chris. We're going to be going to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head out into the hot deserts of Nevada?
I like Vegas. I like Vegas a lot. I've got a couple wins there in the league. I think maybe 2. Two. I think maybe 1 for sure. Maybe a second one. Then I think I have a couple top 3 or 4s. I remember last time we raced there, it was a big fuel mileage race when we raced these cars there. And I think Jonathan ended up winning that one, and I thought I had the car to beat him, but I had to save a little bit more than I would have liked. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good race. Hopefully, Yeah, hopefully it's a good race, clean racing. It'll be fun.
All right, Chris, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Uh, just shout out to yourself, Jaron. We're in a good league. Uh, things get hairy from time to time, but everybody seems to figure themselves out.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out, Chris. Congratulations on taking home the Hard Charger Award with the top 5 finish. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, guys, that was our Hard Charger Award winner for today, sponsored by Autism Awareness, the one, the only, the Chris Champo. Coming up next, we are going to have our third place getter. And today's third place getter is going to be the 38 of Mr. Thomas Harmon. Thomas, a bit of a crazy race out there. We had one early caution, a massive green flag run, and then a little bit of a caution fest there towards the end. What was it like from your perspective?
When I wasn't restarting in the lead, it looked great. I loved it, but once I restarted with the lead, it was I knew I was a sitting duck at that point.
Right now, what really made it a bit of a sitting duck scenario for you? Was it, if you got too good of a start, you were just too far ahead and gonna get swamped, or was it?
Kind of the side draft with these things is absolutely massive, and if they get so much as a little fender next to you, it pretty much stops your car throwing out a parachute on you, and it really affects the car here. And Chambliss just had to make a little baby move to get to my outside. Didn't have to make a big move or anything, and inside outside didn't matter really. Just once he got the side draft on my car, it would have been over. It was just a matter of hoping that I could block it. I got lucky on the first one, but he tapped me in the rear and sent me down and gave me a little bit of a lot of side draft, which pretty much stalled me out.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Thomas. We're going to be going to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What's it feeling like for you as we head out to Las Vegas?
I like Vegas. I think we'll do well there. League as a whole, and it should be a good race. It'd be nice to get away from everybody, even if I don't even have to be leading. Just away from everybody in my own area for a little bit. We had a couple of plate races. Time to do something else.
All right, Thomas. Before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, you up in the booth, broadcasting to everybody. Fans that show up each week, all the people that continue to join and show interest in the league, all the drivers that show up each week with the commitment, and the admins, the drivers' council, Jaron, and everyone on the car.
All right, thank you very much for coming out, Thomas, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head out to Las Vegas.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
All right, guys, that was our third place getter here tonight, Mr. Thomas Harmon. Coming up next, we don't get to talk to him very often, but it's always exciting when we do get to see him. And he come home P2 here tonight, of course, is James Blade Watson. James, welcome to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on P2, mate.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. I don't get to be here often, so it's always kind of a big deal when I am.
That's right. That's why we had to give you the big rev up when you come into the booth. But what was the race like for you, mate? It started out pretty good. There was a caution, and then we had a massive green flag run.
It was terrifying. I'm more afraid racing there than I am Daytona and Talladega because, we've all raced those tracks and this type of racing there for so long. We have an idea on what's going to happen, kind of when, how, and why, but it's not quite like that for here. So, and plus you have a lot more noticeable tire wear that you have to factor into it as well. So there were a lot of close calls and moments where I thought I was gonna get crunched, but I caught some nice little breaks and was able to escape with a nice little top 3.
All right, now let's talk about the ending portion of that race there. We went into overtime, had a couple of portions right at the very end there. What was it like for you just trying to reset and get used to those overtime restarts?
Yeah, the restarts were also kind of a little scary because I'd only taken 2 tires, so on launch the car was a little sketchy, so I was a little worried it might snap back up and I'd end up kind of turning myself in front of the field. But thankfully, I was able to hang on to it, get my shifts right, was able to get in position. The first green white checker being on the outside, that nearly did not work, but like the timing of that caution and all the chaos right as the yellow flag flew that I was able to avoid really helped and put me on the inside line for the final restart, which is what really got me the P2 because I immediately gained 2 spots and had the preferred line and was able to follow Chambliss back past Thomas.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, James. We're going to be going to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head out to the desert?
Not good. You guys that have been around me in this league know that I do not like mile and a halves. I'm usually a lot more competitive when it comes to a short track, but mile and a halves, I'm usually like 13th at best. I somehow managed 7th at Texas a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I'm not expecting anything real good there. That's why I was happy to get tonight's finish in the E7 last week for playoff purposes because I knew I wasn't going to make up any ground at Vegas and Phoenix, so I needed to maximize these last 2 races to make sure I made it in, and I can't ask for much more with how I ended up.
All right, James, thank you very much for coming out. But before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Oh yeah, I gotta thank everyone back at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSPIN39 for 5% off at checkout. I gotta thank Martin Sports Sim Racing Apparel and their amazing sim racing gloves. Got some actual Team Watson Racing gloves that should be arriving within the next couple weeks. Gotta thank Chris Graham at NRN for always helping and supporting me, and ZAS Designs for putting together all my schemes.
All right, James, congratulations on P2. Thank you very much for coming out. Forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head out to the desert of Las Vegas.
Here's hoping.
All right, guys, that was our second place here tonight. Of course, we've got to give him one more big rev up. James Beyblade Watson. And for those of you who don't know, the Beyblade part of his name is a little inside joke from a Dirt Oval series. But coming up next, we've got tonight's winner. And it's always great to see him up here, and especially on top of the podium. Of course, it is the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Brian, the Tide Pod card definitely brought you some luck here tonight. It zoomed you off into the lead when it counted.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's the second one of this season. I think this is my first multi-win season I've had an output. So, it's good to get that one there. It's, can't complain with sitting on top of the podium, that's for sure.
All right, now let's talk about the race. It started out with a fairly early caution, and then there was questions over whether fuel mileage would be a thing, and we had that massive green flag run. What was that first 3/4 of the race like for you?
Yeah, that first round was really kind of just figuring out how the car or how the tires were going to wear and how the thing was going to handle in dirty air. Didn't do a whole lot of practice on it because there's quite a bit of a wrecking going on. So didn't really get a good grasp of how the car was going to react in dirty air or even in clean air at that. But, the first 25, 24 lap run we had there, it was just kind of figuring that out. And then, the car got super loose there right towards the end of that run. So I knew that second round that I wanted to have as clean air as possible, and if I was in dirty air, I wanted to be at the very back of it, just kind of ride around and letting the draft pull me around. So
we came out. I think we came out first on that restart. I can't remember, but either ways, I ended up leading part of that for a couple laps there, just taking it easy. And then as soon as I can't remember who it was, but they made a move on me and got the lead, and I just instantly dropped to the back because then I was just trying to go into tire save mode and if explore if there was any way that I could make it on fuel. And I dropped back basically the last car and in the pack once the two formed up, and just kind of hanging back there. And then it became obvious that if I was saving that much, there was no way anybody else was going to save that much. So I just went, and there was enough tire to save, and I drove straight back up to the top four there and kind of hung out there. And then the caution happened right below me, and we came out in the lead after the pits. And then it was, I never knew what was going to happen after that. Just trying to manage, the runs behind me, and Thomas got around me there, and I thought it was going to kind of be it, but he made the move early, and then we had another caution there, and that last restart, I was trying to be as close as Thomas as I could on the restart. That way, I could be there, be the first one in line to be the guy to make the move, because that's where it comes from. And, I was trying to fake him high and then get underneath him, but he put a little bit of block on it. And then when I went to turn low, the car just got tight, and it didn't react the way I wanted to. And it was kind of lucky that it got me tight, and I hit him in the right rear, and it shot him down the track a little bit, just a little bit of a nudge to move him down, which gave me his right rear at the side draft there, coming into 3. And that side draft basically stopped him. It completely stopped him. He lost probably 8 to 10 miles an hour just on that, which was nice to see. And then after that, it's just a clear sailing, and the only thing I could see is Barney up there with the checker flag.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Brian. We're going to be going to the Jewel of the Desert, Las Vegas. What's the feeling like for you as we head out to Nevada?
Yeah, Vegas is a good track for me. I love that track, that one in Chicago, and I enjoy those tracks a lot. I'm not sure. I think I've only driven it once in this car, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully we'll have another run kind of like we did tonight, and like we did a couple weeks ago, and maybe we can go back to back. I got a little bit of points to make up here. Missed a couple races, but if I keep cracking off these, there's wins and podiums, and we'll definitely be there, and that's what we're shooting for.
All right, Brian, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone in this league coming out and being clean, having fun. It's league's a lot funner when there's no egos, and everyone pretty much gets along, and that's what we got here. So just like to thank all the drivers for that. Thank you for broadcasting. Thanks my family for letting me do this on Tuesdays, even though they're like yelling in the background. But we'll deal with it. They deal with me doing this, so I guess we'll just listen to that later on. But anyways, we'll see you next week at Vegas.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your win, mate. And we definitely look forward to seeing you back on the podium again next week.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. I got to thank my team. Last time I forgot to do it. Keeping it real esports, all my guys over there. So shout out to them. Appreciate the help they give me this year. Anyways, we're out.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. And good luck again next week, mate. All right, guys. That was our winner here tonight, Brian Chambliss. And that is going to wrap things up for us here. Thank you all for coming out. Sorry if you hear a lot of sniffing and sneezing and coughing. I am a little bit sick. Thank you for bearing with me. And until next week, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys in Las Vegas.